Have you ever wondered if you've already met the person God created for you? Maybe it was someone who crossed your path briefly, a friend you once felt a quiet connection with, or even a stranger who felt oddly familiar. Have you ever loved someone deeply, only to watch it fall apart, and asked yourself why God allowed that heartbreak? Sometimes, the hardest seasons are the ones where God is working most powerfully behind the scenes. It hurts when your heart is broken, when you've given everything only to end up alone. You pray, you wait, you trust, and still, nothing seems to change. But what if the silence isn't rejection? What if it's preparation? Every delay, every unanswered prayer, every goodbye may actually be part of how God is guiding you toward your soulmate. The person meant for you isn't just another relationship. God intends for this union to reflect His love, and to receive something so divine, your heart must first be shaped to understand it. Sometimes you're not waiting for your soulmate, you're being prepared for them. God uses seasons of loneliness to teach you strength, patience, and spiritual maturity. It may feel like you're standing still, but God is growing something within you. Proverbs reminds us, "Desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet miss the way?" You might want love now, but God wants you ready for lasting love. He doesn't want you to meet the right person at the wrong time. He wants your spirit healed, your identity secured, and your heart ready to give and receive love without fear. You may have gone through relationships that broke you, but those experiences weren't wasted. God was pruning what couldn't stay, so that what's meant to last can flourish. The heartbreak that made you question your worth was actually shaping your wisdom. You may not see it yet, but every lesson, every delay, every tear is a part of God's divine design. When two people are called to each other by God, He makes sure that both are spiritually aligned. Sometimes that means keeping you apart until you're both prepared. Have you noticed how certain people enter your life at the most unexpected times? Maybe you met someone years ago, and for a moment you felt something powerful, but life took you in different directions. That wasn't coincidence. God often introduces you to your soulmate in fragments, small encounters that prepare the way for a greater story. Romans says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him." Even the mistakes, the heartbreaks, the missed chances, He uses them all. You may think a closed door means the end of a story, but with God, it might just be a pause. Sometimes He lets you meet the right person before the right time so that when you meet again, your souls will recognize each other. You'll realize the lessons you both had to live through were part of His timing. What feels like a setback might be a divine setup. The missed message, the relationship that didn't last, the person who walked away, all of it may be God's way of aligning your path with someone who is becoming ready for you too. So don't despair when things don't go the way you hoped. The path to your soulmate isn't a straight line, it's a sacred journey that teaches you to trust, to grow, and to believe again. God's timing is never late. The one He has chosen for you will come not through striving, but through surrender. Trust that the same God who placed love in your heart will fulfill it in His perfect time. Sometimes God introduces your soulmate not through romance, but through reflection. You may notice that certain people help you grow, challenge your habits, or inspire you to become better. At first, you might not even see them as the one. They might just be a friend who understands your silence, someone who encourages your faith, or a person who gently holds you accountable to your purpose. Yet God often uses those quiet, humble connections to plant the seeds of something eternal. You might already be in the presence of your soulmate without realizing it, because love that's from God begins with friendship, trust, and shared faith, long before it blossoms into something deeper. There's beauty in how God aligns hearts. When you're walking in your purpose, you'll notice that the right people start appearing in your life without you forcing it. They won't pull you away from God, they'll pull you closer to Him. They won't confuse you, they'll bring peace. One of the hidden ways God introduces you to your soulmate is by aligning your spiritual paths. He begins to shape your passions, your calling, and your mindset to match the person who will walk beside you. It's not about finding someone perfect, it's about finding someone with the same purpose. When your faith deepens, so does your discernment. You begin to recognize divine energy when it enters your life. You start noticing who feeds your soul and who drains it. You'll find that the one meant for you won't just fit into your world, they'll inspire you to grow beyond it. And when you meet them, there will be peace, not pressure. God's presence will rest upon that connection like quiet confirmation. Sometimes God will also test your heart before introducing you fully to your soulmate. He allows situations that expose your insecurities, your impatience, or your fears not to break you, but to refine you. You may feel like you keep meeting the wrong people, but each wrong person reveals what your soul truly needs. Every disappointment clears space for something real. God uses these tests to prepare you for a love that is mature, not impulsive, enduring, not temporary. You may even notice patterns repeating in your relationships, people leaving, timing falling apart, emotions running high. That's not chaos, it's correction. God allows certain things to fail so your standards can rise. He's teaching you what love should and should not feel like. When it's from Him, it won't demand that you shrink, compromise your faith, or chase validation. It will feel stable, kind, and aligned with His word. If you're in a testing season right now, don't give up. James 1-4 says, "Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." This applies to love too. God doesn't want to bless you with a soulmate you're not ready to honor. He wants to build your patience so your love can endure. When two hearts are tested and refined separately, their union becomes unshakable. Maybe your soulmate isn't far, they might already be in your circle, watching your growth, learning their own lessons, waiting for the same divine signal that you are. And when the time is right, God will bring your paths together not through chance, but through purpose. You won't have to chase it or force it. What's ordained by God has a way of finding you when you're focused on Him. So if life feels uncertain and love feels delayed, hold on to faith. Every season you're walking through is connected to a promise that's still unfolding. The waiting isn't wasted, it's sacred. You're not behind. You're being synchronized. The same God who parted seas, who raised the broken, who restored what was lost, is still writing your love story. And when it's time, it will be clear, peaceful, and undeniable. When God finally brings two people together, it often happens quietly. There's no grand sign, no dramatic moment, just a calm knowing that this is where you're meant to be. The right person will not complete you, because only God can do that, but they will complement you. They'll reflect your growth, your faith, and your purpose. You'll see in them the same lessons you've walked through, the same scars turned into strength. That's how you'll know it's divine. Your journeys will echo each other's prayers. You might find that your soulmate is someone who's been near you all along, someone whose presence always brought peace. Maybe they've seen you at your worst and still believed in your best. Maybe they've prayed for you when you didn't even know it. God sometimes hides your soulmate in plain sight, revealing them only when both hearts are mature enough to recognize His hand at work. The connection won't come with confusion. It will come with clarity. You won't have to beg for attention or chase after love. It will feel natural, mutual, and rooted in faith. The love God ordains doesn't demand perfection, it inspires transformation. Together, you'll grow in patience, kindness, and spiritual strength. Your relationship will become a ministry, a reflection of God's grace to others. You'll learn that real love is not about possession, it's about partnership. It's not about getting what you want, it's about becoming who God called you to be, alongside the one He chose for you. Every failed relationship before this one will suddenly make sense. You'll see how every heartbreak led you to healing, how every delay brought you closer to alignment, and how every no prepared you for God's greater yes. You'll understand that love from God is never rushed, never forced, never confusing. It's built on peace, purpose, and prayer. When He's ready, everything will fall into place so effortlessly that you'll wonder why you ever doubted His plan. So, if you're still waiting, don't let loneliness trick you into settling. Don't let impatience make you question God's promise. Your waiting is not empty, it's evidence that He's still writing. Pray not just for your soulmate to arrive, but for both of you to be ready when the time comes. Ask God to prepare your heart, purify your motives, and guide your choices. Let Him lead every step of the way. One day you'll look back and see that nothing was wasted. The nights you cried, the moments you doubted, the times you thought God was silent, all of it was preparation. Every unanswered prayer was redirection toward something better. You'll realize that what seemed like random events were actually divine intersections. That the same God who holds the stars in order was gently aligning your story to meet another. So keep walking in faith. Keep trusting His process. Keep becoming the person you would want to meet, because when your heart is ready, your soulmate will recognize it. When you love God first, you'll attract someone who loves Him too. And together, you'll discover that the real love story isn't just between two people, it's between you, your soulmate, and the God who brought you together. So don't despair, don't rush, and don't lose hope. The love you're praying for already exists in God's plan. It's closer than you think. Every chapter of your life, even the painful ones, is leading you toward that divine connection. Trust the author. He hasn't forgotten your story. If this message touched your heart, take a moment to pause and thank God for what He's preparing. Write in the comments, "God still reigns," as a declaration of faith that His timing is perfect and His promises never fail. Your love story isn't delayed, it's being written in heaven, and one day it will unfold beautifully on earth.